All right, here we go. Thanks so much for joining us again this week for our partner agent webinar in the sales trenches. Again, my name is Ryan Dosen, um, Director of Sales here at Host. I'm joined by Eric as usual. He's going to help answer questions on the back end. We may have some other people hop in here as well. Super excited to unveil to you all another really cool software solution that you're going to be able to use to get your foot in the door to help win more business. Before we get into Cloud Time Manager, again, here at Host Merchant Services, your success as independent sales agents is our top priority. We're committed to bringing you guys exceptional support. It's best in class support. Anywhere you go, look online. Dedicated guidance, fast responses, real solutions. You guys and your merchants enjoy 24/7 US-based technical support in case there ever is any issue. Um, Agents have dedicated relationship managers that know your business, that you have a direct line to, that are able to get your merchants up and running fast and also get any potential issues solved quickly. Here at Host, you also have fairly unmatched selection of payment technologies available for you to go out there and win business. We did a great webinar last week for a new point of sale solution with Union Point of Sale, and we've got a lot of software that's going to help you win business too, and that's going to be the focus here today. Again, just looking to pour into you guys, help you win business, help us all win together. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. So again, welcome back to the sales trenches, solution-based selling in the real world. Our goal here is to week in, week out, give you guys either great technology or great information and insight for you to take out into the field, into the trenches, and win business. Okay. And again, today we're really excited to unveil the newest bit of software from the Cloud Manager series and suite of software that you guys have heard so much about and so many of you and your merchants have taken advantage of here. So again, let's go ahead and hop in here and talk a little bit about what Cloud Time Manager is and how it can help you win business. All right, so again, one of the key things here is that your merchants are paying, anywhere from $50 to $200 or more a month for software that you can go and help them replace this week. Okay, so we have, like all of our other softwares that we've shared with you all, Cloud Time Manager is going to be available for free to your merchants. Okay, and so it's yet another opportunity, another question for you to ask other than, hey, can we save you a few dollars on your payment processing? This is another chunk savings that you can bring to them, just like other software replacements for running businesses. Well, here, software for running schedules and payroll as well. This is another big chunk savings that you can walk in the door to your merchants and bring to them right away. Again, your merchants are paying maybe $60 per location for Homebase, $100 per company for QuickBooks, $150, and up for hot schedules and more. Okay. And again, today, what we're going to go through with Cloud Time is we're going to be helping you focus on, what type of merchants are we looking for? What do you say when you're going to get in front of these people? And how are you going to deal with any objections that you may see? Okay, so some verticals that stand out here, and then we'll spend a little bit more time talking about would be, restaurants. Okay, and again, we talk a lot about for in the trenches. We talk a lot about pain points. We're not here to bring pain. We're here to show merchants, hey, how we can help alleviate some pain that you may have. Okay, so restaurants may face pain like, having teen workers and things they have to navigate with that, tighter margins and higher turnover. And these businesses are paying $150 a month, $60 per location for a lot of software. Okay, so again, chunk savings that you're able to bring to these merchants. Retail, sometimes retail, you've got multiple locations, seasonal staffing, part-time miners. Again, they're paying hundreds of dollars a month and many times. And again, here wins going to be that this is going to be free at any sort of scale. Okay, construction. This one's actually really, really cool and something that Cloud Time Manager brings that is very unique with this particular type of software. And just to highlight where it says in terms of a win, you've got an offline first, mobile. usage of clocking in and clocking out. You've also got GPS geofencing per site. Okay. Again, you've got the pain being, crews on job sites. Sometimes on a job site, there's no signal, right? So clocking in, clocking out. A lot of times there's punch in fraud at the parking lot. Buddies are logging each other in or something like that. There's a solution here with Cloud Time Manager, even if people are working in a location where there's no coverage. Okay. Healthcare, again, complex 24/7 rotations, fatigue rules, break compliance. Again, here you're going to have auto scheduling, you're going to have real-time floor visibility. Okay. Um, Again, it's going to be free. So there's a lot of different verticals here that you can target and go after. Okay. So let's take a look at some of the things that we're going to talk about today when we take a look at the software. Okay. So we're going to look at the dashboard, obviously. We're going to talk a little bit about the mobile clock in. Again, people are going to be able to clock in and clock out directly from their phone. Okay. And that's going to be very helpful, especially for those businesses that have, like, say, again, workers out at construction sites or something. Okay. The offline mobile sync. So this is kind of um, the secret sauce to how that can even happen, right? So they actually have the ability to, and we'll talk about it a little bit more here. They're going to have the ability to go in on their phone, even if they don't have any coverage. They can clock in, and then when they do actually get to some sort of coverage, it can then wind up syncing. Okay. There's a kiosk mode. So again, you don't have to necessarily be clocking in and clocking out from your phone. You can set up a kiosk. And again, there's, 100, that can be pulled up. The kiosk mode can be pulled up on an inexpensive tablet that beats a lot of more expensive time clocks out there. The GPS geofencing thing is really cool too. And if you've got different places, you're able to set a specific location, give it a certain radius. And so people have to be within that geofenced area in order to even be able to log in. Okay. So like, again, if in the past where maybe someone would be able to enter, you know, you give your buddy your code to log you in or something like that, if that was going to be some dishonest stuff that maybe people have done and we know people actually do out there in the field. Well, if you're going to not have the kiosk and people have to log in with their phone, well, then the phone's actually got to be there within the geofence, which is a real helpful way to avoid kind of the logging in, logging out fraud type stuff. There's AI auto scheduling. There's also minor labor law, um, checks and verifications, right? So when you create a worker, you're going to put their date of birth in there, and then it's going to know, kind of what it's allowed to do and what it's not allowed to do. All right. Again, we talked about the offline mode. This is the real showstopper. If your merchant has a food truck, job site with no signal, a basement kitchen with no Wi-Fi, every other platform is going to fail, but this one's not. They're still going to be able to log in. They're going to have to do it from their phone, and then as soon as they get back to a connection, it'll go ahead and sync then. Okay. So again, what merchants might say? They might say, I'm already using Homebase. And you're going to say, well, Homebase is going to run $60 per location per month. Cloud Time Manager does that for free forever, every location you own. Okay. A lot of times this is just big chunk dollar savings that we've talked about here. Switching is too painful. Well, run them in parallel for a couple of weeks, decide yourself. We'll set it up for you either way. All right. Couple of openers, but actually before I get here, I think I'm going to actually pivot and I'm going to come over here to the site itself. Okay. So I want you all to know that cloudtimemanager.com is up. One thing that's been really nice and easy for you all is that these domains, all the domains for all the softwares they are basically exactly what the title of the software is. So cloudtimemanager.com, it's very easy to remember. Okay. And again, a lot of you have commented on, how nice these landing pages are, like you have a lot of confidence in sending your merchants, to our websites. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback. The design team's done a really, really good job. It's really good for you to go in and maybe take a quick brushing up on things, even though you can contact your relationship manager. But in confidence, you can send your merchants to these websites, and they do a really nice job of presenting the software um, in a good light and in a way that projects, tremendous value add. So they can see right away that you're not presenting them, a bogus solution. You're delivering what you're saying, or you're at least certainly showing or signaling that you're going to be able to deliver on what you're promising them to get your foot in the door. Okay. Again, you got $400 fingerprint time clocks, and that can be wiped away basically with this technology. Okay. Again, hardware clocks are expensive and unreliable. This is going to either use their phone or you're going to pull up the kiosk mode on your computer there on a tablet in store. Okay. The buddy punching is costing you real money. Okay. So studies show that 25% of employees engage in some sort of buddy punching. I was surprised to see that. I certainly wouldn't have guessed it was that high, but I certainly knew that it was an issue. In my life, I had seen this happen, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I'm not going to do it, but I guess, it's difficult for someone to be caught doing this. Well, this is a way around it, and it actually costs businesses money. Okay. Um, Again, they can clock in from anywhere using their phone. An offline first mobile app that we've talked about, the geofencing, real-time live dashboard, on-demand pay. Um, Again, being able to build out a week's schedule in just a few seconds is a real advantage for your merchants, right? There's a lot of people that have to invest a lot of time in creating schedules. And when you harness the power of AI here, that's going to enable people to move a lot faster and spend a lot less time on relatively tedious things that we all know AI should and now does have the ability to help us with. Okay. We've talked about some of the different verticals right here: restaurants, retail, manufacturing, franchises. We've talked about some of the big wins here. And again, some people have already tested it, really like it. If you come down here to the bottom, again, this I feel like is a really nice chart that you could grab, you could screenshot, and you can see, the type of value you're going to be able to bring. All right. Another thing here, again, we're all in with AI here at Host, and we're using it to bring you guys great solutions. So a lot of technologies that people are using today, it's been slowly improved technology, that maybe is, part of a legacy system that maybe is not as efficient as it should be today. Well, the good news is our stuff's pretty fresh, and it's been built, with the latest technology and not dragging any anchors behind it, right? So this stuff is cutting edge, and it's really going to be great for your merchants. Um, let's go ahead and hop in here. I'm not going to go through all this, but there's a lot of great valuable content in there. Um, let's take a look at the actual Cloud Time Manager software itself. Okay, it's going to log me out at a convenient time, of course. Anyway, all right. So when you're an admin and you're logged in, because again, you've got kind of admin accounts that are going to manage the employees, and then you've also got worker accounts. Okay. And I can show you at least a little quick bit on what it would look like from an actual worker when they're going to log in a second. Okay. But again, you've got your dashboard here, you know, you've got access to, the type of information that your admin HR person would need to see. How many workers do we have here in the company? How many are currently clocked in? Do we have any approved or pending approvals for people that have requested certain shifts? Are we at risk of someone going into overtime that we don't want them going into overtime? Okay, we're able to see that. Okay, right here we've got who's working. It's going to show who's actually logged in right now. We've just got a test person in here right now. um, you know, an on-demand pay overview, what's actually going to be due. Are there any announcements that have gone out to the team recently? Okay. Now, let's take a look at a couple more things. So in terms of workers, okay, let's say you've hired somebody new, adding somebody new is pretty easy and intuitive, like most of our software. You're able to come in here, you're able to just put in, first name, last name, email address, phone number, their role. Are they a worker or are they an admin? Is there a certain department that they're in? And these departments are customizable within settings. We'll show you that. Do they have a job title? What type of pay are they receiving? Hourly salary, or they're a contractor. You're able to put the rate of pay in here. You're also going to put the birthday, and it's going to be used to enforce minor labor laws for workers that are under 18. You're also able to assign certain locations where people are going to work, and this is where the geofencing is going to come in handy. Okay, so I'm not going to add anyone now, but what I will do is I will come back here and show you that I, just kind of gave myself a job here. Apparently, I don't have enough to do. But we'll work here as well. So again, here, Ryan, this Ryan, I got my personal email there, but we've got, inside sales, hourly, $25 an hour. It's got my birthday in there, even though I tell people I just keep turning 25 every year. I guess it's not really true. Um, and then, you're going to be able to enter a PIN where people can log into that kiosk mode as well. Okay, so we've got Ryan in there, and that's great. And so then what we can do is we can come over here and we can schedule Ryan. We can try to put him to work. Okay, so if we wanted to add a certain shift, and again, we can see right here, we've got a test shift that was put in here, for one of our developers. He put himself a shift in here, and we're also able to not only look at kind of a, this might be kind of a cumbersome view of, like if I'm trying to get a view of who's on the schedule today, this gives me everyone in the company and if they're working this week. Okay. But if we come into the list mode, we're able to see, okay, who's on the schedule. I was on the schedule yesterday. Kaval is on the schedule, just now. Okay. We're able to come over here and very easily add shifts. Okay, so let's say we're going to put Ryan to work. Actually, yeah, not Ryan the admin, the other Ryan. Okay, and we can say Ryan's going to start working. He's going to work tomorrow, and it's going to be, we'll say, just say 1 o'clock just for convenience, and it's going to end tomorrow. And we'll say he's going to work from 1 to 5. All right. And so then we can create a shift right there. Okay, yeah. In this case, we had Friday as a non-working day. So we can come back here and we can say it'll be for Saturday. And then for Saturday. And then create, and now Ryan has a shift here. Okay, so the shift was created, and then if we want to, we can actually publish and basically take that particular shift live. Okay, I'm not going to do that now, but you can see we did have other shifts that were created and then published. All right. Staff are able to request shifts. Okay, so they'll have a login where they can request shifts. And in this case, Kaval, requested a shift and it's pending because it hasn't been approved, but we can approve it or not approve it. Okay, we're able to make announcements. We're able to put time off in here as well. I'm gonna stop share, and then I'm gonna share the. Let me stop share there, and then pull up what it looks like from the employee side. All right, so I think I'm sharing it correctly now. So this is the other Ryan, the one that we were going to put to work. Okay, so once he's logged in over here, he's able to click to clock in. It's not going to let me clock in because I don't have any shifts assigned for today. Okay. Um, the software is also going to, in this case, this can be turned on or turned off. But again, in this case, this company is going to require a face match to clock in as well. Okay, so you can have that built in if you want to. And this Ryan hasn't enrolled yet, so we could go and enroll if we wanted to. Okay, but we're not going to do that right now. Okay. All right. And then once they're logged in, they can kind of take a look at their timesheet, their schedule. We don't think we have anything open for Ryan right now. I can take a look at announcements. I can enroll. I can do face enrollment here. I'm able to view the announcements down here as well as any money that's been earned, during my time. All right, so let me stop share there and we'll come on back to the main one. Okay. So now we're back over here. And again, over here on the left side, you're able to see, there's different reporting. You've got reporting available for, overtime attendance, break compliance, labor cost, and location comparison. Um, you're able to export things to payroll, export the time records to payroll, ADP, Gusto, QuickBooks, Paychecks. Okay, you're able to do that. You're able to do face enrollment, and then I want to show a little bit more here in the settings. Okay, so over here in settings, you're able to set thresholds for weekly, daily, double time, and make sure that things are aligned with the state rules. So you're able to put that in there. You're able to have settings around breaks. Going to have the ability, different states are going to have different rules on breaks, so there's a drop down here where you're able to, select your appropriate state if something like that is applicable. Settings for payroll and how often that's done. Geofencing is definitely, something that's a really neat feature. You have the ability to, for this to be required or not required, require face match at clock in. Okay. Um, Adding or removing departments, scheduling the non-working days. This was that little error that we got there because Friday was listed as a non-working day. Okay, so if we wanted to, if we turned that off and we have working days 7 days a week, we wouldn't have gotten that error. But that's showing what's going to happen if someone's trying to log in when, hey, we aren't working today, people. You can't log in today. Okay. You can enable notifications, email alerts for schedules, swaps, time approvals, and overtime. Obviously, that's going to be a really helpful thing. I put in a request for a certain schedule. It's got to be approved. I got to be notified. I'd like to be notified. And as soon as it gets approved, I will be notified, which is great. Time off policies, departments, also the kiosk mode. So this is a neat thing here. So what does the kiosk look like? Well, when you come in here and you generate the kiosk token, then you're able to copy the URL and then on that tablet or whatever device, you enter it in here and now you've got your um, virtual pin pad, where people are able to clock in and clock out using this if you want. Okay, so again, you can have this on a device. People can sign in, sign out using the kiosk mode, but I think part of the real power is being able to do this on the app. All right. Let me come over here. I wanted to show one more thing. Job site zones, so the geofencing. Okay. So the geofencing, really cool and actually, fairly intuitive. Okay. So like adding a geofence. So already some areas have been added here. Okay. And so if we're going to actually take a look at a map, okay, we'll see that this particular zone right here, this was the area of the map in which we're going to be allowing people to log in, okay, for this particular zone. Okay. You also have the ability to add zones, and you basically are able to choose, a certain location, right? So if you wanted to go to Washington and say, all right, it's gonna be at Ronald Reagan Airport or something like that, you could actually come in here and you could drop a pin there if you wanted to, right? And then you can expand the radius. It could be 100 meters. It can be a lot more than that. Okay. Um, you know, anyway, you can see it getting bigger like that. Okay. So this is where you're able to, especially in these construction positions, you know, it may not even be like a specifically defined location. It may be something where you just have to drop a pin and say, hey, this is the work site. This is where it's going to be approved, right? It may not even be a recognized location, by Google or anything like that. But you can literally drop a pin. Hey, this is where this particular job is, or where this particular, food truck is going to be located, and you have to be right there within that fenced area. So I think that's a really, really cool thing. Also, especially with the ability to, um, not only geofence it, but also if you if they're not online, how could they normally log in? Well, they're able to log in using the app. All right, so let me stop share here. Let me see. Um, question: Are roles customizable example of instead of worker? Can we set up server, cook, busser? So, yeah, I mean, we can add stuff to this, but I think generally speaking, in terms of defining admin versus worker, it's really just basically saying, hey, is this someone that's just going to be logging in, or is this someone that's also going to be managing time, right? So the admin is someone that can log in and have hours, but they can also manage time versus a worker is just kind of a global setting for, hey, this is someone that's not managing hours, but they are going to be logging in or logging out, right? So, um, yeah, I think at least the dev team kind of felt like that wasn't going to be necessary, given the fact that for these purposes, you're really just talking about two types of humans, right? One type that's going to be managing the time, and everybody else that's not managing the time, they're just logging in and logging out and recording their hours. All right, so let me share my screen here. I know we're up against it. Let me get you guys out of here on time. All right, so slideshow from the current slide. Okay, again, so a couple of different openers that you can bring here. Quick question. What are you currently paying for time tracking and scheduling, right? Not selling software, I'm asking because we bundle a free replacement for with our processing. And most owners I talk to are surprised by what they're spending. Okay, so again, big value add that you're able to go in and bring people and to get their attention, right? A big part of you guys winning out there in the field is just getting people to stop in their tracks. What's the attention getter? What's going to actually cause them to not tune you out immediately and just be like, oh, it's another one that's not worth my time, right? But if you can get them to stop with this, with the free software angle, that's going to also enable you to get in deeper with the payment processing conversation. Okay. So again, in the past, what are you currently paying for? What are your current rates? I can probably beat them versus what are you paying for software? I can replace it for free. Big difference between I can maybe shave a few dollars here versus I can completely replace this solution and actually make it even better for you for free. Okay. So again, um, pick a few merchants this week, with 5 to 50 employees with some of the verticals that we've covered. Use one of those openers, see if you're able to get a response there. If you get a nibble, like fishing, if you get a nibble, see if we can get a demo, reach out to me, reach out to your RM. We'll figure out how to get a demo going for them so that you can get your foot in the door and win some business. Again, everything you need here, cloudtimemanager.com. If you want to book, this is my booking link right here. If you guys want to take a screenshot of that, it's also in my email signature now when you guys get emails from me. There are comparison pages on Cloud Time Manager, so where you can, if you learn ahead of time that they're using a certain solution, you can go to the compare section. There's a drop down where you can see, and actually I can show you that. So right here on Cloud Time, the very top, there's a comparison section, right? So let's say they're using Homebase. You're able to come here and you're able to really quickly show them, okay, you're on Homebase. Just take a look at this. See if it's interesting. You're probably paying a lot of money. I can save you money here. All right. All right. So I think we're pretty much out of time. I've used up my 30 minutes again, even though I didn't think I would. Do we have anything else? think we've answered all the questions. All right, guys. Well, hey, we're a minute over. Thanks so much for joining us today. Really excited about an exciting new offering here for you all. Reach out to us if you feel like you need some more information so we can equip you with that so you can go out and win the business. But thanks, stay tuned, and we'll talk to you soon.